Hey guys, it's Laurie of Laurie's Heirloom Sewing, and today is December the 16th of 2020. I've decided that in lieu of some serious sewing that I need to do, I'm making a skirt for my daughter. I really am kind of more in the mood for doing fun little projects. So today I'm going to make a little pillow. It's a Ninepatch based design. I had so much fun making this that I thought, you know what? We're just going to continue. And these little projects are so much fun and they're quick. So if you need something a little bit on the less common, a little bit more unique that you can design, and you can fill with whatever it is that you would like to fill it with, this might be for you. The basic measurements for this project are, you need one, actually you don't, you need two 7 by 7 inch pieces of fabric. What I'm doing is I am cutting 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. I am using the 1 inch mark on my ruler and the 1 inch blocks on my cutting mat, and then I cut my 1 inch in half. All these rulers will have all of these rulers will have 1/2 inch marks. So I've already done 1.5 inch on this side. So now all I have to do, because I have a 1/2 inch right here, is just move this over to the, the next inch mark on my cutting mat, like so. And I'm going to slide this over for my own comfort in cutting. So this time I'm just going to use the 1/2 inch mark on my Omni grid while this is on an inch line on the cutting mat. So if I line up the 1/2 inch with the line on the Omni grid, then I can get my 1.5 inch cut from the felt, or the wool, I mean. And you can do these one at a time. Okay. And then I have to turn these and cut 1.5 inches in the opposite direction. That's one of the best things about cutting these this way, because you can truly match up your edges. Okay, so that you would have a pattern that looks like this. Ah, there it is. And then you would put like so. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just so tempted because I like the way this looks. So I'm thinking I'm just going to use this black. This of course is wool as well. So I would have, let me think, I kind of prefer this. I like the little It's almost like a confetti. So I'll show you up close. That's kind of cute. All right. And then what I'm planning to fill this with is lavender. And the other thing is, if you don't have two colors, you seriously could just use one color, break it apart, and then stitch it back so you have that look. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of some of this, and I'll show you what I have when I come back. Alright, so I have stitched my little Ninepatch. I just have to clip this thread and press the two long seams open so that I will have my little patch of fabric. So I'll go take care of that, and then we're going to cut our two side pieces, one for the top, one for the bottom, and one for each side, out of this black felt. And I'm not a real wool expert, but this was sold to me as felted wool. I don't know if it's showing you how thick this is. And it has not only a distinctive feel, but it has an interesting scent as well. And then this is like what I would consider to be wool that you would make suits out of, like maybe a wool skirt, a wool jacket, that kind of thing. And then this is 100% wool felt. It's not acrylic, it's wool, which also has a very different feel from the acrylic type of felt sheets that you purchase. So that's all I can tell you about this. If your expertise is more into, you know, the types, the differences, how to tell certain wool, that might be maybe information that you can share in the comments below this video. I don't know. But I'm going to go press this and I'll be right back to get these cut and ready to be stitched. I think it's really cute. So next steps are 2 rectangles that are 2 inches by 3.5 inches. And then 2 rectangles that are 2 inches by 6.5 inches. I do feel the need to really square these up. And the way I do that is I'll put it on a line where part of my project is on the line, and then what is on the outside of the line I trim away. And I don't trim very much. I mean, that's that one. Alright, so now my little Ninepatch is pretty square. Alright, and we're going to double check. And these will need to be trimmed. They have to be even with the sides of the project. Make sure I'm okay. Alright, so get that in view there. Okay, so that's what this will look like. And then the next, after I trim the top, this will go here, and this will go here, and then all this will be squared up. I'm going to do that on the sewing machine with the Sewology black thread that I showed you guys that I purchased. It's 100% polyester, and I bought it at Hobby Lobby. It's the first time I've ever used Sewology thread. So we'll see how it does when I come back. As you can see, it has really come off the rails pretty quickly. I'm going to keep going. That's what I do. There's a couple of things I'm going to tell you when you bring this super thick wool to the sewing machine. Lengthen your stitch length. That's very important. You will definitely want to do that. The felt is really I don't even know how to describe the difference in the sewing machine between this lightweight wool and this super heavy wool. I'm going to go ahead and continue sewing it on the sewing machine. I'm not going to square up my Ninepatch because I feel that I need to have this for the stability. And if I were to square it up now, I would end up having to square it up again. And I think I would just end up with a big, huge mess. So I'm going to press this so that it wants to roll in, and I'm going to let it roll in. I'm going to press it. I think some steam would be good. But as you can see, it really stretched out this end and this end. Right? I stitched it this direction and then this direction. So let me get that pressed, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch these two longer pieces to the Ninepatch and see where that puts us. I'm not real thrilled with the Sewology thread. I'm not being paid to review good, bad, or ugly, but so far it's a polyester thread that is just kind of basically creating as much lint at first blush as a 100% cotton thread, which I find that kind of strange. I don't normally have that issue with polyester thread. So this is what it looks like pressed, and I did just press. I didn't iron. You know, I didn't pull this or slide the iron. I just used heat and steam by pressing my iron. So that's where we are now, and the next step is to stitch these on. I'm kind of anxious to see what that looks like, and I'll be right back. I have the two short pieces attached, the two longer pieces attached, and this is what we have on the reverse. I will tell you that the Sewology thread is not working well in my sewing machine with this type of fabric. I'm not going to completely discount it for future use. However, while this is not supposed to be, it was not supposed to be a thread review, I will tell you that my first impression upon just the basic touch, the way it feels in my hand compared to Gutermann, it's like the worst. So, I mean, it's probably the worst thread that I have touched and felt in my hands since I began sewing. And I mean, that's been a long time, you guys. So I'm a little bit surprised. I've never run across Sewology thread before, so I don't know if it is a common thread that many people have experience with, and I somehow have managed to escape it until today. I don't know. I mean, I've used some pretty yucky thread in the past. This is at the very bottom of the list. That's my final say for my sewing room. I won't be purchasing it again. I'm going to use it on other fabrics just to kind of see what I think. But I mean, George is my sewing machine, and George has put up with a lot over the years. You know, all the way from the very best down to today, the very worst in my opinion. And I've not had problems with the other thread. Today, this it claims to be 100% polyester black thread has shed all over the top of my sewing machine, and it snarled and snagged and pulled so badly on this long row right here that I had to trim it all off. I missed some. And so that whole thing again, very slowly, with a huge stitch. Like I set it all the way up on a 5, which is the longest stitch. And then I have the option to add length between the stitches beyond the preset 5. I just wish I had purchased Gutermann thread. I was at a store that didn't sell Gutermann thread though, and I won't make that mistake again. It is so cold. I'm drinking hot chocolate. Okay, I think this is kind of cute. Or not. I have to think about the time. I would really like, now that I think about it, I honestly do not have time. I have today, like I said earlier, today is the 16th, and I have got a massive number of projects to do, and I kind of wanted to finish this one. So the next step is to take either another piece of wool, like this, or you can use this type of wool. I might just go ahead and use this one. Okay. But I am going to fuse a piece of muslin to the back of this piece of felt. I want that extra strength, and I don't want this to stretch, and I don't want holes to appear. I would like for the lavender to be able, the scent to be able to escape, and I think that would be best accomplished here. I don't know if you can tell, but it is quite thin, and I feel like it would be, I mean, I can see through it if I hold it up to my eye. You can see those little holes? So I feel like the back of it needs to be a little bit more supported, and the front, this little window right here, can be where our lavender scent will come from. Okay. So what I plan to do is take a piece of muslin. I have just plain cream muslin here. Cut a piece to fit. I don't really want to use the selvage, so now I'm going to use a spray. You could use like a glue stick if you wanted to. That would definitely be okay. And of course the other option is quilting. And as I'm sitting here, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I might do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and spray to fuse these two pieces of fabric together. I'm going to be using spray and bond basting adhesive. I've watched 3 FedEx trucks drive by. It's crazy. I live on like a horseshoe loop off of a main road. It's just crazy. Okay, so I will do that. I'll be right back. We will continue. Because I'm going to be filling this with lavender, my plan is to create an opening on the back instead of having to stitch one of the side seams, because this is too thick for that. It would not work. It would just be a disaster to try to stitch the side seam, you know, like you would do if you were making an actual pillow out of fabric. So my plan, there we go, is to take a piece of this. I will be cutting an opening in the back of the little pillow through which I can put my lavender and probably some polyfill. And then I'm going to cover that up by stitching a little extra piece to the back as a decorative piece to hide the opening that I will have to create. So my plan is to create some little flowers. Alright, so I'm happy with my lavender, and you just peel it off gently from your foam. So just gently, you're just pulling the wool fiber out of the foam, like so. Isn't that funny looking? Sometimes I like this side as much or more. It's kind of weird. But I'm going to use this side. And there's the foam. Okay. Now, we will take this, which we've fused to a piece of muslin. I did press this. This is the side that I want out. This is the side I want to have show. So right sides together would be this, and then I will just stitch all the way on all four sides. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and cut an opening so I will be able to determine how big the piece that will cover that opening will be. So fold this in half, and I think I'll fold it again. Now, having the muslin on this side and it's fused to the felt on this side really helps keep everything from fraying, from stretching, from becoming distorted. And then all I have to do is just kind of open this up. I can put whatever the product is that I happen to be using, lavender seed. You could use BBs, you could use another food product like crushed walnut shells. I know some individuals use aquarium rocks. Basically anything like that that adds weight. I'm just going to use the lavender seeds and polyfill just to kind of be like a pomander in my room. Once this is filled, I will, you know, just simply put that back and then stitch this to the back as an added piece, an embroidery piece. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm going to get my turner, which is probably in my hazel bag. Yep, there it is. I'm going to use the rounded edge first and kind of run along the long seams. I'll get to the corners in just a minute. Okay, and then just carefully work on those corners. Alright, and the next thing I wanted to point out is everything I've done in wool you could do in lace. Seriously, you could do it in a very fragile fabric. It doesn't have to be this big burly, you know, rough and rustic. It could be done exactly the same way with lace. Alright, so now I'm going to take this oh, it smells divine. And this will now go right here. I swear I watched, against my own better judgment, I watched Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella again for the 40 billionth time in my life. It was one of my mother's favorite, absolute favorite musical television events, and I watched it with her when I was little, and I watched it with my girls when they were little, and I must be the most sensitive person on the planet, because I can watch it, but I cry like a baby every time. Everybody else that I've watched it with is like, oh, isn't that sweet? Oh, it's so nice. La 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 la, and I'm over there sobbing like a baby. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I'm just that way. So anyway, I've got one of the musical pieces in my head. I can't. It's like all day today. You know, that 15 seconds that just loops and reloops and reloops. It's just in there and it won't stop. One of those. Alright, so I'm looking for a needle, which I'm going to need to use a small needle to manipulate between, I guess is what I was trying to say. And I'm going to use one strand of thread. I don't think I want to use two. Let's see if I can thread this. is done. This is the back or the front, and this is the little Ninepatch. The entire outside is wool. I have the roving felted wool, and then wool tweed, I guess. And it smells like lavender. So I hope you enjoyed this little vloggy tutorial. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used, any of the techniques that I used, any of the issues that I had, drop a comment below this video. It will have a description. It'll be the video, a description box, and then there'll be an area for comments below that. I always look at those, and I welcome your questions. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.